Welcome back to this humble channel. Thank you for taking time out of your day to pop by and listen to what I gotta say. So, today, been seeing a lot of discourse. Feels like it's nauseating at this point to where it's been around for a couple years now, but a lot of people like to call it the gender war, and definitely tensions between men and women online seem to be an issue. And I used to think that, well, a lot of people use the internet, so that translates to real life. And then as you get older, you realize that's not really the case. And there's a reason why being chronically online is a bad thing and how you shouldn't do it. There's times I'll catch myself when I start to scroll and doom scroll. Like today, I felt that from my friend's conversation about LinkedIn. I was like, yeah, I guess I'll update, but oh my God, like a couple minutes using this app and I just feel a sense of dread being like, I gotta market myself for jobs and work that I don't give two shits about. I just want enough money to be happy in life, or that's a loaded statement. Enough money to where I can chase or have energy to pursue passions and read books or things that I want to do without being so stressed out and working myself to the bone. And there could be some sacrifices to be made there for sure. But to get back to the point of the topic, there I go rambling again. Sometimes I get a little sidetracked on these videos, so apologies on that part. But yeah, the gender war, men versus women. Shit is exhausting. So exhausting to the point that I can't speak well. No, but it's exhausting to the point where I just notice that you will see women say, "Oh, men suck, do this shit," and then men will do the same thing in the sense of moaning, complaining about, "Well, women aren't like this," and they're very disinteresting and stuff, and it's just downright annoying. Um, because I used to watch some content leaning towards men because I was a guy and I wanted to see, oh, what are they about? And then in like 22, 23, I was like, okay, you know, I was naive to think that this is applicable to real life. And then when I went out and did my own experiences, I realized I never encountered those kind of people. And I only did it on dating apps. And yeah, it's now I only use two. And even then, that's very minimal and very low. Like Tinder's gone. Tinder's so gone, never to be seen again. That thing's long gone and dead. So thank God I don't use that. Bumble sparingly, and then yeah, that's basically it that I can think of the big ones. And you just see this crap online. It's like, why modern women aren't this, or endless videos of girls on TikToks just bashing men, and you just kind of start to feel like, damn, okay, if I think a majority of people around my age, I'm 27, use the internet a lot, almost to the point of where it's excessive. And you start to have two realities of where you think stuff that happens online is applicable to real life. And a lot of people out there are just delusional and have really high expectations for dating. Um, I mean, all for that. It's your life, right? I'm not saying you should settle. I don't think this video here is lower your expect. Some people say that crap, and I used to think like, oh yeah, that's right. That's why you're single. But like, it's your life. You know yourself best. And if you want to find a person out there, you just got to keep trying, and maybe you'll eventually find that person. It's gonna be hard. It's not guaranteed, and you almost have to fall in love with the process of things because just falling under this narrative that men suck because X line did all this nauseating crap that you probably heard from other videos that you don't want me to parrot here, or women are, they're not feminine enough, or they're not faithful, and they all cheat, and da 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 da. There's all this lame stuff that, at least from the women that I've met in my life, especially ones that wasn't from, like, from friend groups that were from college and stuff, there were ones that I like admired. Oh, I said admired. He's a simp. No, like, actually respectable people that, some of them actually liked and was like, wow, these seem like a great person. And, you know, more times than not, only like once or twice was it ever reciprocated. But that's not the point here. I think the point to take away from this is that go out and confirm on these things yourselves instead of just seeing what other people talk about. I see a lot of jaded people, and maybe some of my topics in the past have been more on the negative side, but it was to share a viewpoint to where at the end of the day, you watch this video, maybe some things you could think about that I said or something thought provoking, and then you kind of go on with your day. That's what I kind of want for these videos to be, honestly. Don't really have any high aspirations in regards to outcome of, oh, what is this going to be, da da da. Just kind of sitting down and having a conversation, because some of those channels where girl or guy honestly sits down and talks to a camera, I find really interesting with very minimal editing, because it's just raw and straight to the point. And anytime someone comments and reflects on what I said and shares their thoughts, it's a nice feeling, honestly. I try not to get attached to it and be like, wow, I want that on every video, because one, that's something out of my control, and two, it seems kind of forced. You want something to be a little more natural. And man, there's just some content I see that's recommended to me. It's like, woman this, woman that, guys this, guys that, and then that. It's fucking lame, man. Let's do something that maybe is a better use of our time. I'm not even trying to be like, yeah, there's no bad or bad, like bad guys, women, men, whatever out there. But it just gets to the point where people milk it for content and then just create this cycle of misery that, okay, things are not going to get better. This is how it is. This is how you should navigate life. Boom. And I guess to each their own how they want to go about life. But for me, I've always been more of a optimist / realist. Very rarely a pessimist. I just feel once you start getting into self-development, reading philosophy, seeking inspiration from others, or just learning what other people did, you kind of have a little more optimistic lens on certain things. And when it comes to dating, yes, I think it's harder than ever. I think it is XYZ because of conversations I had with people in the past, whether it's social media, how people communicate nowadays, what are preferences, just kind of social norms. And a lot of things are either like you can go a little too liberal or conservative, and people make bank on catering to either of those sides. And if you kind of fall into the moderate side, you kind of feel a little alienated, or you find this stuff kind of ridiculous, because those are two lifestyles out of many that you can have in this life. And I'm feeling fatigue from it, honestly. Sometimes it just wears me down to the point where, how am I going to explain this in a clear, coherent way on a video without, being bummed out? And sometimes that stopped me from recording, feeling like I'm just, adding something that may have already been said, or someone may have done it in a better manner, but it wasn't from me. And I think anyone who aspires to do something out there, you have to keep that in mind, that you're special in your own way. Oh yeah, you're a special snowflake. No, like, in a more pragmatic way, where everyone has a purpose in this life, and you are going to have different people you come across, And when you give your time to them, that's special, but also them giving your time to you is special. So it doesn't come from a place of self-centeredness, but maybe you try to be more appreciative of what you have in life currently. That's something I'm always struggling with. There's times where I'm like, okay, maybe if I have more income, I can aggressively save up more, and by the time I'm late 30s, I have it made, whatever that means. Or I could travel more, and like this year I have two plans, or why can't I? Two planned trips. One with a friend of mine. One I'm solely flying, and I was scared. I was scared for that one. I was anxious. I didn't know if it was gonna work. Da da da. And I was like, you know what? Stop thinking about it. Book it and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Don't answer that question, especially when it comes to flying nowadays. But in the sense of, okay, I land there safely and all that. Is the trip going to work out? Are we going to mesh together? Blah, blah, blah. Just silly stuff that just comes from overthinking anxiety that is a fight every day. And a lot of people lose those fights. I feel like today, I feel like I lost that fight. Today I was a little down, even though I had my day off from work. It just felt weird. I went to the gym. It was a good workout, but maybe in another video I'll talk about this since the gym I frequent a lot. But yeah, I think I'll make another video on that, to be honest. But yeah, this men versus women crap is really annoying. That's why whenever I talk about dating app stuff or just dating, it comes from my perspective and how I go through things with it, to see if anyone out there resonates with it and we can have a conversation about it. But I never go with a whole like, huge generalizations that are borderline like misandrist, misogynist, humanist. Let's call it humanist because you're just degrading people for a couple bad eggs. Like, it is crazy that some people complain about being generalized and all that when they generalize other groups, and you could just become a hypocrite. A lot of people are hypocrites nowadays. And if I ever come off as an hypocrite, point it out and I will address it and be like, yeah, you know what? Back then, that was a bad call. All up to that. That was not my move there. But yeah, something's got to change with this. Like, we need like more level-headed people out there providing a voice, because the loud minority is starting to affect certain things into the mainstream of news and these big YouTube channels that cater to people that are miserable and don't want to do the work on themselves. And I think that should change because it's leading towards a culture that I'm not a fan of, and it's just going to make things harder for everyone. So men have it hard, women have it hard. That is true in different ways, but let's try to be positive and find, solutions, lean on each other. There's so many things I've learned from women in my life that my buddies may have not provided insights into that I find super valuable. And, there's a lot of things to appreciate about men and women. And I think just putting them down really doesn't lead to anything tangible. I don't know, maybe a hot take here for some people that have gone through divorce or had a very long relationship and that person betrayed them. Like, I haven't had something like that happen in my life. Who knows? I may come back to you and be like, Jeff, you fucking fool, man. Or just like, but that ain't right now, and can't, look into the future of something that doesn't exist right yet. So, anywho, I think that's about it for this topic. Catch you in the next video. Have a good one. Deuces.